Fallout New Vegas, the best Fallout game because it has everything a man could ever need: drugs, hookers, and gambling. But it also has 4 DLCs, some of which involving less of those 3 things. Of the 4 though, there is one the community has altogether dubbed the worst, and that DLC is Dead Money. The question though is, does it really deserve all the hate that it gets? From the very moment you start Fallout New Vegas, you can immediately listen to a radio broadcast that talks about the Sierra Madre Casino and the luxury and glamour that lies within it. Listening to this broadcast also marks the area of the broadcast's origin on your map, which seems to be on the western side of it. The location, as we make our way to it, we can realize is very secluded, and once we get close enough to see it, we can realize that the broadcast is coming from an old Brotherhood of Steel bunker. Once entering this bunker, we can find some dead corpses, some of which have strange bottles on them called cloud residue. And we can also see a bunch of writing on the walls that all says is the Sierra Madre. It's all very strange and cryptic, but if you head deeper, you can see a radio at the very end of the bunker's last room, and the giant sound of the broadcast coming from it. We can head in and
let your eyes take in the luxurious expanse of the open desert under clear, starlit skies.
We can eventually wake up and we're met by a talking hologram in front of us. We now have a collar on ourselves that'll blow our head off if we don't follow the orders of the man on the hologram. We can ask him why we're here and he'll just explain to us that we're here to do a job, and that job is to break in the Sierra Madre Casino, which is just over the horizon. He tells us we need to gather a gang of others with the collars on, but if they die, we also die. With that out of the way, he sets us off in the world. The area holds a red tint to it, and like previously said, you can see the main casino just rising over the horizon, looming over us. We also only have one weapon now, which is a holo rifle. The area seems pretty barren for the most part though, as the only things we're going to really find as we make our way through are some casino chips and trash. That is until our captor, whose name is Father Elijah, tells us that there are inhabitants to this villa, and they don't go down easy. You have to chop them up into pieces. Moving forward, we can meet one of these aforementioned inhabitants and shoot them down, but like he said, they don't die. It gets back up and we have to shoot it down again, and we're forced to take the melee weapon it's carrying and chop the person up. We can soon reach the area though, where the first of our team members is. Entering the new area, we can walk forwards and suddenly hear a loud beeping noise before we walk backwards. Soon enough, Father Elijah comes on again, talking to us through our Pip-Boy. He tells us that the speakers and radios around us have the ability to set our bombs off early. Perfect. Ignoring that, in the center of the room, we can see a giant gray super mutant just rocking back and forth while curled up, saying nothing. We can move forward and turn off all the radios around us before they blow us up, and we continue turning off more and more radios as we slowly make our way deeper and deeper into the building and progressively head down. As we reach the basement though, we can hear a deep, gravelly voice that tells us to keep moving forward, and the person in the cage is named Dog. We can keep making our way down further, past more radios, until we reach the end of the basement. The deep voice comes back and says that the holodisc laying on the table holds his voice, and all we have to do is play it for Dog in the center cage. We can head back up and do just that.
Dog, back in
What
the
have we
cage.
here?
We are now face to face with God. Clever is the opposite of Dog. Start the laugh track. He's very composed, especially after we saw his previous state, where he was rocking back and forth over and over. He tells us that apparently Dog is his opposite, and they trade places in the body. And we can quickly recruit him by promising not to bring Dog back out by playing Father Elijah's voice, because God of course wants control over the body. With him recruited now, we're able to continue forward and try and find our next companion. As we make our way to the residential district of the villa where our next companion is though, we can come across strange-looking machines. They're vending machines for the chips I mentioned earlier, and they're our main source of healing items and food throughout the DLC. Which is a thing to mention about this DLC. There is practically no healing items, but then again, the DLC is honestly built around stealth a decent amount, so it doesn't really matter. Though as we head, we can stock up at it for some chips and make our way to the residential district. We can quickly move forward in the area and... Okay, so the area is booby-trapped way to the max. This is also the area where we can get a first good sight of the cloud that was in the jars earlier. The cloud is what causes the whole red tint around the Sierra Madre, and it's a poisonous red cloud of fog that can easily kill us if we get into it. We can persevere our way through the red area though, and past the inhabitants, booby traps, and more of the cloud, until we can eventually enter a building. Heading upstairs past some more traps, we can find a man in a chair. He appears to be disheveled, he's a ghoul, he's lacking skin, but he says he won't speak to us until we have a seat. So, we do just that. And he starts to talk to us about the Sierra Madre, before telling us something disturbing.
Don't give up or make any sudden motions, no matter how uncomfortable that chair gets. The cushion's just for show.
His name is Dean Domingo. He's a performer from before the war, who works at this very casino. And he already knows he's part of something bigger because he knows his collar is beeping again, and he wants out. And he wants our help to get out. We can quickly accept his offer and try to find a way for him out because our life is at his will. So, he allows us to get up, and we now have the second part of Father Elijah's crew. Now we should have one person left to gather, and the map says that the last part of his plan is at the medical district. So, this is exactly where we head to. Entering the medical district area, there's a lot of speakers that'll set off the collar. And unlike the radios that we saw earlier, we can just turn them off by getting close to them. We simply can't turn these off or destroy them. We have to navigate through and around them. But if you can play your timing right, it's not too horribly difficult. There are also the usual residents, but they aren't a particular problem anymore because we're getting used to how they work. And eventually, we can find and enter one of the medical facilities, which is packed full of holograms. The holograms can't be killed at all, and if you get too close to them, they'll attack you instantly and do major damage. Again, another way the DLC promotes its stealth, because we can make our way past holograms and make our way to the basement. The basement is full of old medical devices, and we can eventually find one that's occupied and open it up. Out of the autodock machine comes a woman. She's disoriented, and as we can soon figure out through inferring, she's completely mute. She doesn't take as much convincing as others though, as we just need to explain that we're both stuck in this predicament and that she needs to be part of our crew if she wants to get out with us. And so, she quickly accepts. With everyone recruited now, we can head back to the main fountain at the center of the area and talk to Father Elijah's hologram. Talking to him, he'll tell us our job is to activate something called the Gala event that will open at the casino to all of us. So, now we just need to put each part of our team in different positions across the villa to activate it. Right. Well, I guess let's just start off with moving Dog or God to his position. We can quickly make him part of our party and begin to make our way to the south area of the villa. And as we make it there, we have to navigate through a huge amount of residents and some fog and cloud. But with God's help though, we're able to relatively easily clear them out. Soon enough we can come across God's position, which is a power station with many switches that only he can pull because of his brute strength. We can instruct him to pull the switches when needed, but he'll say how after the Gala event starts, then he'll be stuck in a mass of the area's residents. He does eventually agree to help us though, but it's under one condition. We have to keep Dog under control because we need to feed him. And he of course won't take any normal food or any of our chips. He wants the flesh of the residents. It's disgusting, but we'd head out and kill some of the residents before harvesting their flesh, and we can take it back to God, where he'll then accept and stay in his position. Great. Now we just need to get the other two in position. Heading back to the fountain, we can find Dean talking to the woman, but we can quickly talk to him and get him and our party to come along with us. His area is in the main district of the villa, so that's where we'll head. Entering the district, we can find it brimming with the usual residents, but it also has a crap ton of the cloud in it. It's honestly really difficult to navigate the area, especially with the constant amount of damage from the cloud and the lack of healing items that we've received throughout the DLC. but we can eventually get Dean into his position. The thing is though, like God, he's worried about his safety, and you're giving two options. You can either clear out the area from all the residents, which will require a large part of effort, or you can simply just threaten him to make him stay. So, I say just threaten him and make him stay. And with him out of the way, we now just have one person to put in position, and that is the mute woman. We can meet her back at the main fountain and get her to tag along with us pretty quickly. Her position is in the same area as Dean, so it's already mostly cleared out of the area's residents. But unlike Dean, she's underground, and the only way down to get deeper underground is through a locked door that requires power to open. We can look around the area and find the power box, which needs 3 electrical components for us to activate it. So, we head back up and out and look around the area until we find those 3 electrical components. And so we repair the box, and we head deeper into the area, where we can find out the area is very, very complex and deadly, as there's the toxic cloud everywhere throughout it, which you sometimes have to walk through so it drains large parts of your health. And continuing forward, there are also turrets that do immense amounts of damage to you. Eventually though, we can get past everything and put our companion into position. The thing is, like all of our other companions, she of course has a problem. She doesn't want to head deeper in the facility to do her job. Luckily though, we can find a special password and find a way to transfer her position to the current floor of the facility instead of making her go deeper. Now everyone is in their place and Father Elijah starts to speak to us. He tells us that our final job is to get to the bell tower in the center of the area and activate the gala event. So, this is how we would do. It's a combination of everything that we've learned throughout the DLC. The toxic cloud is everywhere, the residents litter every part of the area, and speakers are everywhere and almost impossible to get past. But if you play everything carefully and run, we can eventually reach the top of the bell tower. Now we just have one last thing to do. Now the doors of the casino should be open. We can retrace our steps back through the area and eventually reach the fountain again. The gate of the casino is fully open, so we go in. We can eventually wake up inside the casino and hear Father Elijah again. Apparently us and our group all got knocked unconscious by the casino's automatic security system, and he tells us that it's now our job to wake up the casino by bringing back on its power. So that's exactly what we do as we head in the main casino. The main casino has holographic security everywhere, but they aren't too much of a trouble this far in the DLC, as we now know how to sneak past them efficiently. And we can eventually sneak our way into the upstairs part of the casino and find the breaker box, where all we have to do is pull the breaker switch and we can turn the power back on as Father Elijah starts to speak to us again, before he instructs us to go back to the lobby. If we do that, then he'll tell us that the others are stuck on other floors and that their callers are interfering with the casino systems, so we can't escape just yet. He instructs us to kill them, as the callers don't work between floors. It's definitely an idea to consider, but let's just head up to the kitchen's floor and see how we feel. Inside of the kitchen room now, we can find the area is full of gas. If any spark appears, then we'll blow up. We need to quickly find whatever is causing this and stop it. And we can quickly see God or Dog, and we have to try and get close to him and get him to stop. And as we talk to him, we can find out both God and Dog are fighting right now, and Dog is currently in control. But we currently have the ability to persuade Dog to stop. We can convince Dog that what he must do is imagine God as a body of water, and that he must enter him. We tell him to enter, but God objects, along with Dog, saying that they don't want to merge together, as they would probably forget us, but we can just tell them to do it. And suddenly we have a new character, a mix of both Dog and God, with no idea who they are or why they're here. We simply tell them to rest, and we continue on. That's one of our former companions dealt with. 2 more to go. We can make it back to the lobby before eventually heading up to the theater room. Entering this, we can find a large stage, and who else but our good friend Dean Domingo. He says he doesn't need us anymore. He's going to get the hologram security to kill us before heading off our floor and getting away scot-free. We threaten to go backstage, but he says it's locked by a key and we don't have it. But we can pretty easily tell it's a bluff by his speech. As the holograms appear around us, though, we can run backstage and pretty quickly find the keys we need to get to where Dean is. But we can also learn from some terminals that apparently before the war, Dean was going to pull a heist on the casino, like we're doing now. It didn't matter though, because when we do reach Dean, he immediately puts us into a fight and we're forced to kill him. We quickly have to run off stage and escape before our collar blows up, but we can do it. One more person left to handle. The Mute Woman. And with that, we can enter the executive suites. The place is pretty barren for the most part, as it's just a bunch of interconnected fancy rooms, but one thing is strange. The same hologram of the same woman is all over the place, and whenever one of them sees you, they attack like all other holograms. It really isn't hard though, because you can eventually reach the end and meet up with our final teammate.
You made it. Good.
She can speak now? That's a little shocking to say the least. She gives us some context on who Father Elijah is, as she tells us that he must die. And this is the final thing that he has done in a line of much, much worse things. And the way to the basement of the casino is locked, and she'll only agree to open it if we agree to kill Father Elijah when we find him. We have no choice but to accept her offer, and with that, we can enter the final section of the Sierra Madre Casino. The basement is our final challenge, a combination of everything that we've learned throughout the DLC. And I won't even lie, it's a little annoying. The speakers are everywhere, and they're corralled together, making it extremely hard to get past them. And the unkillable holograms are much more clustered, which is really annoying, especially when they're put into tight spaces, so it's almost impossible to get past them. And another really annoying factor is the cloud. But honestly, with all this, I can see where a lot of the hatred towards the DLC is probably coming from. It's probably coming from here, simply because it utilizes so many annoying mechanics that people probably didn't like in general without the DLC, except they're all made 10 times worse. But it's also the final test of skill, so it makes sense to be hard and annoying. Eventually though, we can reach the vault that everyone throughout this DLC has been trying to get their hands on. And as we entered it, we realized it's filled to the brim with gold bars. The door quickly shuts behind us though, and we can quickly lose some of the gold bars, but at most we can carry 1 or 2 of them before we're over encumbered. And soon enough, Father Elijah's hologram appears in the middle of the vault. He refuses to release us from the vault, but with enough convincing, we can get him to come down and meet us. That doesn't mean we're free yet though, as we walk out, we're attacked by a bunch of turrets in the area. They do immense damage and take a lot of hits to take out, but eventually they do go down. That's when we're finally forced to face Father Elijah. But he's just an old man. All it takes is some clean shots to take him down. But there's one more problem. With him dead, the entire facility is going to explode, with all the gold in it, too. We can run back in the vault and try and pick up as much gold as possible, but we can't carry of it due to its excessive weight. So, we're forced to run. Forced to let go. We run through the facility, backtracking in everything we've seen so far, and we make it to the elevator just in time, and return to the fountain where it all began. We can walk over to the gate and re-enter the Mojave Wasteland. We're given some cutscenes that explain the fates of all our companions, and some background on them, but they all mention another courier. That's a problem for another time though. If this gets like 20 likes, I'll talk about his DLC and his story, but it doesn't matter as we've now reached the end of the DLC and can leave the bunker that we originally walked into. Well, that's pretty much Dead Money, the most hated Fallout DLC, and honestly, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it could be annoying, of course, if you mainly have guns leveled and not stealth or melee, but I like that it forces you into a new start. You have to adapt, you have to think, you have a lack of heals. I mean, even in this playthrough, I had to find countless solutions to different problems I had. I really think the lack of resources is what makes it fun. Of course, the undying ghost people or the speakers get annoying, but I don't really think they ruin the experience. It also has a really good message too, that you need to let go. But that's just my opinion. A game opinion. Thanks for watching. Maybe throw me a cheeky like or a cheeky subscribe, and let's move on to my outro song. Hey everybody, this is my outro song. I hope that you do sing along. I'm the Moth Maker, and I make content. Please give me money. I need money. Please subscribe. I don't have a dime. I have really, really bad rhymes. Please subscribe. This is the outro song. The outro song. The outro song. This is the Moth Maker outro song. Please subscribe. I don't have a dime. If you give me a little bit of your time, maybe subscribe and give me a dime. A dime, a dime, a dime, a rhyme. I got bars from Mars. Girls go to Jupiter to get more stupider. Boys go to Mars to get more bars. That's what I'm saying. My name's not Lars. My name is Mothmaker, and I take time to make these videos, and I spit bars, rhymes, and hymes, and lots of things. So please subscribe and have a good time. Bye.